Again, thank you for hanging with us. A wonderful holiday. Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman, I'm Molly Karen Rose. And gentlemen, I must confess, so I usually watch Red Zone, my former colleague Scott Hansen, for the games, but I had to watch Brady and Mahomes in full, sat there the whole time. And at the end, it got a little tight, Max Kellerman. I thought Brady was going to get the job done, but he didn't. Tom, talk to me.
What happened?
Left ourselves a big deficit to start, got off to a slow start, couldn't convert any third downs. Just poor execution early and get behind and you know, players got to do a better job. We got to make the plays that are there.
Everybody tried to hand us the Lombardi Trophy in August. You know, you just don't throw guys out there with names. You got to practice. You got to learn to get in sync with each other. That takes time.
Stephen A., let me ask you this. Was it Brady who cost the Bucs a win?
No, it was not. And by the way, as an aside, Molly, before we get the show started, I told you last week about the yellow. It's slamming. Way to go. Now, let me get to this
for you,
football
Stephen
game
A.
yesterday. Okay. I appreciate it, but here's the deal, okay? When we look at yesterday, we can sit up there, we can point the finger at Tom Brady all we want to. I would say to you the name Carlton Davis. You ever heard of that name, Max Kellerman? Ever heard of that name? He would happen to be the cornerback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that was lined up opposite Tyreek Hill. Okay? Tyreek Hill, a 75-yard bomb. Tyreek Hill, another touchdown where he backflips into the end zone, showing nothing but utter disrespect for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tyreek Hill, who had 203 receiving yards in the first quarter. And oh, by the way, not only was that a problem, you sort of felt so sorry for Carlton Davis. Why? Because Bruce Arians and Todd Bowles never decided to double up on Tyreek Hill, never decided to make sure you had help on the safety over the top. You put this brother in single coverage. I don't know if anyone has noticed, but DeAndre Hopkins, Julio Jones, and anybody else you want to mention, they studs, Michael Thomas, all big-time studs. Tyreek Hill's the best wide receiver in football. In case somebody missed it. He's the best wide receiver in football. He's the fastest. He's got great hands. He's strong as a bull. And let me tell you something right now. He's leading everybody in yards. Put on an absolute clinic. Todd Bowles, I don't know what the hell they were thinking about not doubling up, not having help from the safety over the top, doing something, playing a zone defense on other occasions against these brothers. Makes no sense whatsoever. But that is what happened. And that is why this is not on Tom Brady. Certainly he got outplayed because Patrick Mahomes had 359 yards passing in the first half, okay? But the bottom line is you look at it, and it was that defense of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that did not show up. I don't know what Bruce Arians and Todd Bowles were thinking.
Oh, my God. Here come the excuses. This is ridiculous. Let me tell you whose fault it was. It was Patrick Mahomes' fault that the Bucs lost. Patrick Mahomes, who basically ended the game in the first quarter. No, Brady couldn't make that up late. It was too much. In the first quarter, he and Tyreek Hill, yes, they put on a show. I guess if it's not Patrick Mahomes' fault, I guess it's Bruce Arians' fault, right? Like, that's the reason they lost. So since they only have one loss, and Mahomes does this to the whole league and avenge the team that beat them, right? I guess it's all the coaches' faults. Every time Mahomes and the Chiefs play someone, it's the other coach's fault. If only they would have done X, Y, or Z. They could have stopped Mahomes. Really? You want to go there?
Are the Bucs going to make the playoffs? Right now, they are sitting in the 6th spot. They're 7-5. They got Minnesota coming up in their next game. They're just a shade ahead of the Cardinals, who won the last spot. Love to hear from you. Key J&Z, 888-SAY-ESPN. Is Tom and company going to make the playoffs? An unthinkable question when the season started. Unthinkable. What did you see last night?
Well, when I look at the schedule, the 4 remaining games, they play Atlanta twice in there and Minnesota coming up, much like you mentioned. That's a tough, those 3 games alone right there. Got a coach fight and try to keep a job in Raheem Morris, which he's doing a hell of a job. He should just be given a job, in my opinion, second time around. Mike Zimmer, Minnesota Vikings are still trying to make whatever little bit of the season left, possibly a playoff push based on what happened to the Bucs last night. Kansas City was just too much for them. Firepower-wise, they got out early. Tyreek Hill, you saw what he was able to do.
Wow.
Just ridiculous. I was hoping he got to 300 yards, though. I wanted to see him get to 300, and if he got to 300, I wanted to see him get to 400.
As a wide receiver, for those that missed it, 269 yards receiving. He had 203 yards receiving, folks, in the first quarter.
Yeah.
He had 203 yards receiving in the first quarter. Mahomes hit him on touchdowns of 75, 44, and 20 yards.
Well, that happens when I really didn't understand, and Todd Bowles knows this. He knows better as a defensive coordinator. You don't allow guys like Tyreek Hill to have free access and just run down the field unimpeded with no one touching him. Playing man-to-man without real help or without jamming them at the line of scrimmage, you're going to lose that battle every single time. And the way that you defeat the Kansas City Chiefs is you have to play physical and hard like the Raiders. You got to get up and challenge the defensive backs have to get up and challenge the receivers of the Kansas City Chiefs. So therefore, when Patrick Mahomes goes to throw the football, he knows that it's going to be tough and I got to get the ball out there. My guys are going to be rerouted. But when you allow them to just run up and down the field, it's ridiculous. And on top of that, it was great game planning by Eric Bieniemy to understand that the guys that were covering Tyreek Hill Dean couldn't keep up with him. It was just like, there's the duck. We're going to shoot him down. Find 24 wherever he's at on the field, and we're going at him. And that was one of the things that Eric Bieniemy and that staff did from an offensive standpoint. But defensively, the Bucs didn't do enough. They did not do enough to cover up some of their deficiencies in the secondary.
Are their Super Bowl aspirations done?
I never really thought that the Tampa Bay Bucs were a Super Bowl team. I understand we get excited in sports media fan base. They get so excited that Tom Brady and Gronkowski is coming to town and, we're going to the Super Bowl. Look at Vegas. The Vegas says we're favorite. We're doing this. No, I never felt that way. I always felt like Seattle, New Orleans, Green Bay, were those three teams was kind of going to be the ones that would come out of the NFC. When you think about it, yes, Tom Brady's won 6 Super Bowls, been to 9. But there's no offseason. There's a pandemic. He's going to a new system and trying to learn exactly what it is that they need to get done within this system. It's not 20 years of New England. I know everything about New England system because I built the system. I am the damn system. I can run the system blindfolded, where you look at some of the things in Tampa and you say to yourself, what are they asking Tom Brady to do? Are they asking Tom Brady to do Tom Brady things, or are they asking them to do Bruce Arians and Byron Leftwich things? Mine is more Bruce Arians and Byron Leftwich. Just watching the game, not being in the meeting room, but also understanding an offense that I've seen in New England over the last 20 years, and some of the concepts that they did in New England has not transferred with Brady to Tampa Bay.
It's something that Tony Romo said earlier this week, and he essentially
I'm listening to me. I ain't listening to Tony.
But he essentially said what you said, which is everything in New England was just instinctual. I can just turn around, close my eyes, 2.5 seconds, put the ball up. No Edelman is going to be there. And there's no way outside of Gronkowski he can have any sort of relationship like that with any Bucs player.
Tony's 100% right about that, though. You could just, that's why when you think about players and you think about guys moving from team to team, it's people say, well, why would he go there? Familiarity. Maybe not with the team or the system. Maybe not with the team or the organization, but with the system that's being run. Is I can go right now to a number of teams that I played for. If those systems are in place, if I went to Oakland right now after however long I've been retired, it's second nature. I'll pick it up like it's nothing. But if I go to the Tampa Bay Bucs, I've never been in Bruce Arians' system. So it's going to be foreign language to me. I'm going to be like trying to figure it out. But if I go to New England, or if I go to where those systems, you just plug me right in. It may look ugly. It may look like that Mike Tyson fight, nice and old, but I would know where to be and I would know where I need to go. And I think Tom Brady is struggling at that outside of Gronkowski.
Even the elder statesman Brady is young compared to Mike Tyson. We'll talk about Tyson and his adventurous weekend at 6:45. Last thing, are the Chiefs beatable? Obviously they are because they've lost the game, but you know what I mean.
The right situation, you probably could catch them on a bad day, but if you catch them on the wrong day, you're going to get run out the building. That's just, I don't know how, I sit up and I marvel at Patrick Mahomes. He did something last night on a throw that was just, oh, I know what it was. He manipulated. It didn't convert. It was a 3rd and 16.
Okay.
And it did not convert. But he got the ball out. The receiver tried to attempt to catch the ball, but they batted it down. Man, that was a hell of a throw. That was a hell of a throw. And they was like 1 yard short of the first down, Zubin. And I was saying to myself,